Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking breakout players for 2020. Breakout players is actually probably a little bit more of one of their most favorite episodes, I would think. You always want to find fantasy football breakouts. I think that's kind of get the most enjoyment out of, finding that guy late in your draft and saying, yeah, you picked the right person. And I mean, this can be different than sleepers, though. I mean, it all feels like the same in the way, but these aren't necessarily sleepers. These are guys who are well-known, already good, can be that way, that we just think are going to take another step up. So there could be guys down the list. There could be guys that are already relatively near the top. So it's just going to be, we each got 5. We will go over them in just a second. Before we do that, though, we talked about our relegation leagues a bit before. Invites have started to go out. We have, 5 tiers? So Champions League, all the invites are out for the Champions League. The Contenders is the next level. All the invites should be out for the Contenders. Third level is the Challengers. I think we got about 2 or 3 of those leagues completely filled up and ready to go. If you were supposed to be in the Challengers League and you haven't got an invite, get a hold of me because you should. And there's actually quite a bit of people that you might have, if you changed your Instagram name from last year, chances are I don't know who you are anymore. So you might want to let us know so you get an invite. But while doing this, there are dropouts from last year. So if you want to get a spot in these relegation leagues, you'll be probably down in the minors. We have the beginners, the minors, the challengers, the contenders, the champions. It's a pretty awesome setup we got going. 25 leagues. So if you want a chance to get in, how you do that is you go rate and review us on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review, 5-star rating. Give us a review. Send us a screenshot of that to our Instagram at Fantasy Football Prophet, and we will get you a spot in one of these leagues. If you don't have iTunes, go leave us a review on Stitcher. That'll work too. Get us the review, screenshot it, send it to us. We'll get you into one of these leagues. I know we're going to have... It's hard to say exactly how many openings right now, maybe 20 to 25 openings, which if you want in, better, make sure you get your stuff in now, because last year we were able to fill up 25 leagues. So it's going to be popular, but we want to get you in. And once we fill them up, we'll see what we got. But me or Jeff will be in each of the leagues, so that'll be fun. We have 25 drafts there. So last year I think I did like 8 of them at once. That was, it was a good time. So we won a few of them, but It'll be fun. So make sure you guys go to Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet, and you'll be able to get all the info there. All right. Breakout players. I'm still changing my list, Jeff, right now. It's bad.
Yeah, I'm having a harder time. Last year, not to toot my own horn, but I knocked it out of the park. This year I do feel like
people are at the right level almost.
Yeah, they are. And also, I feel like a lot of guys broke out at the end. So if you say a guy, I'm not going to argue with you being like, oh, he already, because a few guys I kicked off the list because I was like, they already arrived. But at the same time, last year I did the same thing where I was like, okay.
Dalvin Cook last year was your breakout, but he really truly hadn't broke out like he did.
Yes. So, but when you really put up the numbers, when you're actually in the top whatever, we can argue about that, but that's why this one's a little different. I felt like last year I had a lot more locked and loaded that were going to be this huge jump.
Yeah.
This one I feel less so, but I feel very good about the quality that you can get late.
I like a lot of the players. I'm just not. It's different. I tell you, it's different. Last year we just had some ones like Lamar Jackson just stood out to us last year. It was just automatic. I mean, of course it was going to be Lamar, right? It was clear as day. You can't find that guy this year for me. I don't really know who that guy is with that running. It was his running ability. And I guess that guy would be Kyler Murray maybe, but it's pretty well known too. And he finished pretty high. So.
Yeah, exactly. He finished in the top 10. And look at that too. I mean, we just named 2 guys. If you picked up Dalvin Cook and Lamar Jackson, you could have picked both of them up far later than what they're, where they were being drafted. You're going to win your league. So This is why it feels different this year. But who knows? These guys could still be the difference makers without a doubt, but definitely not the caliber of athlete. I would say those 2 are.
Yep. All right. So let's jump into this, Jeff. Let's go with your number 5 to start us off.
Number 5, this one makes me so hesitant because right off the bat, I have picked this position on this team before and I was wrong. But number 5, I had to throw Allen Lazard on there. Right now, he's wide receiver 67, or he was last year, I should say, 2019. That's where he finished. He's only being ranked at wide receiver 63.
He's way down there, yeah.
Yeah, and he's right now, as far as we know, he's going to be wide receiver 2. They didn't draft anyone else. Look, the other guys that were there had their shot. They didn't pull it out.
You don't believe in Devin Funchess?
I know it. A couple years ago, I would have said he probably No, he's an older player now.
That's
Allen, and Allen Lazard. He does have the athletic build for it. I don't know how good of a player he really is, but he's in a position where he's going to get a lot of chances, and you can't really argue any better than that. He's going to be with an Aaron Rodgers offense that likes to run the ball. You know, Devontae Adams is going to be on the other side of him. He's going to draw no pressure. Yeah. So I think that his numbers will be better than a player that he is, because I'm not overly optimistic about him. I mean, he was undrafted, wasn't he? But hey, he showed, unfortunately, too, against the Lions.
I was going to say it's the Lions, right? It's that Lions game where he started to come
obviously,
up.
Lions are bad. But he lit him up. He went for a touchdown. I mean, he had multiple games where you're kind of like, okay, I can see a world where he, will be a player. So even in week 12 against New York Giants, once again, not very good, but 3 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. The last 2 weeks, he did pretty well as also. 9 targets for 5 catches, 45 yards, and then 8 targets, 4 catches, and a touchdown. That was against Minnesota and Detroit. So, it's there. He was getting targets. He's kind of there whether they like it or not. They didn't draft another wide receiver. So unless they go out and get someone, which I highly doubt they will, more than likely he's going to be number 2. So I'm going Allen Lazard. I feel like I downplayed him so much, but Allen Lazard is a very good pick, especially at that late of a value. Oh, yeah. I just get very nervous because I remember a couple years ago I was Geronimo Allison for the same reason, and it didn't work out. So
that second receiver or whatever or third receiver has always been, it's just like the Green Bay tight end. It's always like the thing, but maybe. Lazard, we did pick him up in the Scott Fish Bowl, so we got him late in that. He showed some promise last year. I remember that Lions game, that first game where he just came out of nowhere, and he looked good. It was like they really got to try this guy more, and we'll see if they do.
Yeah.
So.
And he's 6'5". Yep. I mean, he's not a speedster, but he's not slow.
All right, let's move to my number 5, and I went with a tight end, and it's really probably no terribly big surprise if you listened before. I went with Mike Gesicki. I love this player. I think it's in his 3rd year now. This is really where tight ends begin to become good players. He's only 24. He'll turn 25 during the season. He jumped from 22 catches in 2018 to 51 catches in 2019. Yards were from 202 to 570. Touchdowns went from 0 to 5. He really took leaps and looked really good. And this can change, though, depending on the quarterback situation, right? With Fitzpatrick, I actually feel more comfortable with him. I feel like Fitzpatrick's just going to throw the ball around, and I feel really comfortable. Tua could, if he's healthy and he plays, he has potential to be a really good quarterback, so maybe it'll be good for him. But, Gesicki is just like, he's a ridiculous athlete, too. This guy, he looks the part. I think this is going to be a big breakout for him. And I'm excited for it. It's just the quarterback situation is the only thing that holds it back to me, where it's just a little iffy. And that's my only hesitation, because if not that, I'm starting to move him up to around 10 or 11 in my ranks. He's passed. We'll talk about this when we get to ranks in probably still a month away. Maybe not quite. I'm actually not a month away. What am I talking? We're July 14th, probably 2 weeks away. Yeah. Jeez, we're getting there. But he's passed Austin Hooper for me, and he's passed Tyler Higbee. So,
yeah,
yeah, I'm telling you,
it's a difficult one. I like him a lot too. The problem is we don't really like a lot of these tight ends. They did shuffle around. You don't really know. And I'll be honest, I'm with you. I think the QB does scare me away a little bit. I really like him. He has all the talent in the world. I do worry about that first 5 games being really good, and then new quarterback struggling when you kind of need him to hit his stride. So that's kind of what worries me, but you mentioned everything. He has he will be a very good tight end. Is it going to be this year? That's kind of where I'm at.
Yep. All right. Number 4.
And I'm going to preface this by saying I really do dislike putting rookies on this list, but I have 2.
All right.
And my first one is right here. Number 4, I'm putting Jerry Jeudy. And Jerry Jeudy I think he was the best wide receiver in the class. You're pairing him up with Sutton, Hamler. You have 2 good running backs. The only question in my mind whether or not he is going to make a real impact in the NFL, especially for fantasy, is the QB the real deal? Is Drew Lock going to be able to take that next step? Very dangerous to think that a sophomore QB just automatically has it, especially when he only played like 5 games last year. But hey, I mean, he has everything that you already need to succeed in the NFL. He kind of already has all that skill set. And that's what I really love about him. His footwork, his route running, you've heard it a million times if you've heard anything about Jerry Jeudy, is the real deal. He will be able to get separation. He'll be able to, get down the field. He'll be able to catch it, and he can kind of do whatever they need him to do. And on top of that, he doesn't have to be the number one. And so for all of these reasons, I just think Jerry Jeudy is going to be a wide receiver that is ready to step into the limelight and produce. Will he be a top 10 guy? I'm not saying that. But I think that he will be worth starting in your lineup by the second half of the season, no doubt. And the same way I kind of felt about DK Metcalf. And I think that his numbers will be, I think his yardage will be better than what DK did last year. I don't know about the touchdowns, but I think that is kind of what to expect. And I was pretty right on DK. I wish he would have gotten a few more yards, but he was a beast. And Jerry Jeudy is a more polished guy.
I was actually just thinking about Jeudy, and this will be for a later episode too when we talk about I was thinking in terms of our auction draft we'll do for our league. And Jeudy, and not just him, but then the other rookies, but Jeudy should be, I think I do like him more than the others, I believe, than Lamb and whoever else. Jefferson. There's a lot of good ones. But Ruggs. I just feel like they're way down there in the ranks, and I was thinking this is, in terms of auction. Am I going to be able to get them cheap? Maybe not anymore now. I did realize that. Jeez. Yeah. But I feel like they're being really overlooked.
Yeah, and right now Jerry Jeudy is wide receiver 48.
Yeah, you can get him for free in a snake draft. You're getting him way late. I mean, we pay again another guy we got in the Scott Fishbowl, right?
Yeah.
So
all these I like
right?
all these.
That's why we picked him.
Yeah.
That's why we picked him in the Fishbowl. But he is going to go way down there in drafts, and I always bring auction is what we love to do. So it's been a while since one of the top rookie receivers we were able to get for nothing in those auction drafts. It's been, I remember back I got like AJ Green for, we've been doing this forever now, haven't we? AJ Green for like $5 in an auction. Odell was like 1. Mike Evans was 15, I think. But those guys didn't go for much, but it's been forever. Everybody now, since that year, the Odell Evans year, it feels like all the rookies have gone for so much, and they really haven't produced now at the same level. So the price has come back down.
And that's the funniest part, because I think this is the most talented draft class since that.
But the price has gone down for these rookies now.
Well, they should have.
And it has even for the rookie running backs, I would say. So in a way, except for maybe Edwards-Helaire. But there's nobody in the top 10 anymore like there had been for the last couple of years. They've always been somebody on the verge of that. But
I feel like everyone was mining for gold for a while.
It happened for a bit. I really feel like those receivers, the Beckham and Evans, and how good they were.
I think, was Jarvis Landry in that same class, or was he a year before?
I thought was he the same?
I want to say he was, and I could be wrong, but there was a few that even got overlooked because of how good those two were. But there was 4 or 5 that really did well right away.
People just started loving rookies for a while, which I get. You can get them for less, and they're the breakout and all that stuff. But it's gone back now to the point where, I feel like Judy's not talked about much. So we'll see how that plays out. But I do like the value. And actually, speaking of like Jeudy, Sutton's been his just the hype on Sutton has died, which is weird. So
yeah, he kind of, and I don't know why either. I think maybe it has to do with Drew Lock and the same concerns I have. But he's up there. I mean, it's not like he's completely off the board. I do feel like this is the most jumbled anyone has ever felt about any single player. And I do think part of that is because you haven't gotten to see workouts. You don't get as much hype anymore, right? Yep, so you're not hearing about it.
We're not hearing those off-season workouts. We're not getting all that stuff. That's what's going on. And
so I think this is the one that you really have to figure out who's who very quickly.
Yep. All right. My number 4. And Jeff, you just talked about him, DK Metcalf.
Oh, beautiful.
So, like you loved him last year, and I love him again. You were, I think, bigger on him than even I was, but the guy's a freak athlete, first off. The size, speed, everything. He's just, I mean, if you throw the ball up to DK Metcalf, how is he going to stop? How are you going to stop him? Like, he should be that good. 58 catches, 900 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's a pretty good rookie season. And I just believe he's going to get better. He's only 22. He's young, still 22. He won't turn 23 till the very end of the season. He was even better than I anticipated last year. I mean, it was all about, just the athlete and all that. Like, will this translate? And we hoped it would, but it really did. And he's playing with one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It can only help him. He has another guy on the outside of him. He has Tyler Lockett there. It's going to take attention away. You can't just look at DK Metcalf. And honestly, I think the way Seattle, they use those tight ends too, that defenses have to respect the tight ends. I think Greg Olson's underrated. That's for another day. But I think he has a little bit left in him. But I think there's enough there to keep attention off from DK. And shoot, if they do go to him, the other guys will just play well too. Russell will find the open guy. If DK's one-on-one with people, going to get the ball to DK. It's going to be, you can't stop it. How do you stop him? 6'4", he's 6'4", 229, but that's 229 of just pure solid muscle, I think. I'm looking at the picture right now. I put his name in, and I think you probably know the picture I'm talking about.
I already know.
So, I mean, just the guy's ridiculous. But DK, my number 4, I think he's just going to really take that next step and, become one of the top receivers there is. I really do.
Yeah, I'm obviously a big fan of his. And I just want to take one moment because I think I underappreciated how good that draft class was because I looked it up real quick. There? So in 2014, this is when that draft class came out, and I was kind of like, okay, there's a few more.
Odell, Evans, Jarvis.
This is so jam-packed, full of talent. Yeah. I couldn't even believe it. So the top wide receiver that came out was Sammy Watkins, actually.
Oh, geez.
So Sammy Watkins, Mike Evans, Odell, and then we go to Brandon Cooks.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And then Kelvin Benjamin, do you remember him?
No.
He kind of flamed out, but he was good for a moment. And then, just when you're like, okay, that was it, we jump down and we do Jordan Matthews, if you remember him. But then we hit Devontae Adams in the second round. We hit Allen Robinson in the second round. Jarvis Landry in the second round. I mean, you got to be kidding me. And I haven't even gotten to the third yet.
I'm going to go on a little tangent here, then another thing, because the NFL noticed that. And in 2015... Here's what they did in 2015. So Amari Cooper was the first receiver drafted in the first round. Okay, I get it. I don't think he's lived up to the number 4 pick, honestly. But then you got Kevin White. Remember Kevin White?
Yeah, that one hurt.
Then Devontae Parker, which finally, so he was drafted in 2015, and so in 2019 he made himself, in the back end of 2019, he made himself worthwhile.
But we do talk about this a lot. I mean, that's 5th year on a bad team. Yeah. We always say 3rd year on a tall wide receiver.
But Nelson Aguilar, first rounder, geez. Brashad Perriman, he finally looks like, again, now like in 2019, he finally did something. Maybe it's not the 3rd year, it's like the 4th year thing we got to think about. And then second round was pretty ugly. Devin Smith, Dorial Green-Beckham, Devin Funchess. Man, the NFL they were really just like searching for wide receivers there. And then Lockett in the 3rd, so the best ones are later on.
Yeah. And
Jalen Strong, remember that name?
Yeah.
Sammy Coates, remember that name? Oh, geez. I love looking back at drafts. Yeah.
Kevin White. Ouch.
Kevin White. I drafted him in
Chicago,
Dynasty.
Man.
I drafted him in Dynasty. 4th pick that year.
Dude, he seemed athletic. What was that, 1 year in West Virginia and then?
God.
Anyway.
What a bad pick.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I do believe that the wide receivers here will not disappoint. That's my point.
So DK, good. DK is good. All right.
DK is good.
All right. Number 3, Jeff.
Number 3, I'm going to tight end, and I'm not picking Gesicki. I'm actually going Jonnu Smith.
There you go. I like that one too, though.
He was tight end 20 in 2019. He is ranked currently at the tight end 15. And I'll be honest, once again, Craig started kind of throwing out names, and I was looking them up. And I'm a believer in this guy now.
He's good.
And I was really wondering, I was like, okay, there's a very important thing, too, actually, that occurred around week 6 and 7 for him. And that is Delaney Walker got hurt. He kind of busted up his ankle a little bit. He never came back fully healthy. And then on top of that, they sit Mariota and they go with Tannehill. So you combine those two things and you see what Jonnu was able to do. And he really did, I wouldn't say explode, right? Because first of all, even though Tannehill was a very good quarterback for them, they ran the ball. They ran the ball very heavy. And you look at, how many receptions anyone gets. It was A.J. Brown. Then it was, Corey Davis, and then Jonnu was actually number 3. But on top of that, I mean, he was number 3 and he only had what? It was 35 catches. So you have to taper your expectations a little bit. This is a run-first offense, but I really like what he brings. And if you look at the amount of targets that he got, especially in that second half of the year when they really started throwing his way, it went from, I think he topped out at 3 targets. All of a sudden, you hit week 8, he was getting 7, 5, 6. So I really like that. He is a very athletic tight end. He is not overly big compared to a lot of these guys, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think he's 6'3". He's just a really freak athlete. And if he's going to be the number 1 guy, I heard reports about him and Tannehill working out together, which is always good. And they do have A.J. Brown. He will be the number 1 target. Corey Davis, I still believe in the talent, but I don't think right now it doesn't seem like he's going to be there. Jonnu Smith could really compete for the second best, receiving option. And on top of that, this is a team that doesn't really throw a lot of passes to the backfield now that Dion Lewis is out of there. I mean, even last year, they completely switched over to Henry being on the field for 60% of this, snaps when he doesn't catch the ball almost at all. So on top of that, there's no one else to steal it. And last year, they started incorporating little, almost like little shovel passes, and they're getting him in space, and then he was running after that, which I love to see. So you add up all of these things, and you start hearing a lot of good, talk about Jonnu from the coaching system and how they believe he can be a difference maker. And I have to believe this is one of these young pieces that they're starting to kind of rally behind. So, and on top of that, they did improve their line a little bit. It started getting better by the end, and just shows how good Henry was. So that can only help Tannehill as well. But Jonnu Smith, I think that he could be in line for a huge increase. And he was able to be relevant last year, even with only 35 catches. So that's saying something.
Yeah, I'm on board with this one. He is, so like Smith and Gesicki, those are the reasons why I wait on tight end now. I mean, as we said that we drafted tight end in the first round of the fishbowl, because different. Kelsey's a different animal. We did get Gesicki, though. And we would have got Jonnu if the plan was to go back-to-back on him.
Yeah, we were 2 picks off or something.
I love these players. I hate even like Hayden Hurst type players. And I like a lot of these. Hawkinson, I'll take him. I love these tight ends. But Smith, it's really Smith and Gesicki are the 2 that I love just waiting on tight end for. Because they're right now, I think, 14th and 5th. Well, actually, ADP-wise, they're 15th and 17th, which I love waiting to get in that tight end. I'd get one of those guys. I'm going to wait all day long. So I know it's going to end up, you're going to end up with one in our league, and I'm going to end up with the other. Yeah. So it's probably going to be Gesicki for me, Smith for you. I think that's how it's going to play out.
And once again, I don't like to go completely by this, but we have been correct as tight ends take a while to develop.
Yeah.
Gesicki was his 3rd year.
Yep, and Jonnu's
his 4th year.
4th year now, yep.
And that is about right, especially for Jonnu. I think this was good for him to kind of learn behind Delaney Walker, and now that he's out of the way, I think it's his time to shine, baby.
Yeah, only the Gronkowski's breakout right away.
Even him, it took him a couple years.
So, all right. My number 3, I'm going to go Calvin Ridley. I just feel like this is the year he makes that next leap. So, I mean, Ridley, he's not like he's not a freak athlete, right? He's not the biggest guy either, but I just feel like he's a good wide receiver, and his numbers really were looking good last year before his injury. Yeah, if you look year to year, that you look like, oh wait, he didn't really make a jump, right? But he was out for a few games, so still ended up with 63 catches, 866, and 7 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns the year before. So in 2 seasons, he has 17 touchdowns. That's a really good start to a career. And I think for a first and second year receiver, 64 catches, 63, more really on pace for more in the 70-ish. Those are 2 good seasons. And he's going to make that next jump. I'm not going to say Julio is going to fall off, but Julio is getting to the point where you could see some targets starting to go maybe a little bit away from him. They lost Hooper, but I don't think that's going to matter. Hurst is going to be good enough to, take attention away. And I just think Ridley's going to take another jump up and start to, maybe we'll see that changeover at some point here, like we saw I'm not saying exactly like this, but went from Roddy White to Julio. Maybe it goes from Julio to Calvin Ridley here pretty soon, and this could be the year. So you just never know when those receivers are going to start to drop off. Andre Johnson just fell out of nowhere. happens a lot. I mean, Calvin retired, but he was starting to show some signs. It happens with these kind of, Julio feels like he's in that mold to me where it could happen. But either way, he doesn't have to fall off. Ridley can just take another jump up and be that much better. So, and you get him at a decent price, wide receiver 2, which a back end wide receiver 2, so not too bad. But Ridley's my pick here.
Okay. I did not put Ridley on here. I get the idea behind it. You have an extra couple of games. And I think losing Hooper or, letting him go, whatever you want to call it.
I think they just let him go. I don't think he's worth the money. I don't like Hooper.
I think that actually does help your argument with Ridley because he had 97 targets. He was amping up every year. I think those targets all do not go to Hurst. I think Hurst can definitely come. He could be a breakout player. He really could.
I like Hurst. I think he's getting a little overhyped, though.
Yes, I do not think he's going to get 97 targets. Yeah. That just doesn't happen right out of the gate. I mean, Hooper, if you look at his number of targets, he ramped up, right? He went from 65, 88, 97. There was a year before that, but he wasn't the starting tight end. So I think there could be a bulk of those that go to him. Say even 15 targets or something. All of a sudden, he goes into kind of a different, a different tier. And even his rookie year, he finished as the 18th best wide receiver. He does have that ability to catch touchdowns. And I don't think Julio will. I don't think this will be the time he falls off. But I think that helps Calvin Ridley.
He's still there to take attention away.
I don't know. How do you think? Do you think that Gurley does anything in that game? Do you think
it doesn't? I think it helps. I think it helps the whole offense. I actually think Gurley. I mean, I think Gurley's gonna be good. I'm starting to think we're underranking him, but I don't feel confident in it. But I think it's just gonna help the offense as a whole. He's better. He's better than Freeman. Yeah, so it's just gonna help the team.
So I do agree with you. I didn't put him on here. I'm not overly confident that he can make a big enough jump for me to say, oh, he's gonna be in the top 15 or whatever. But I totally get your point, and everything that's moved around and transpired with Atlanta makes a lot of sense.
Yep. All right, we're in the top 2 here. Number 2.
All right, number 2. I'm going for my other rookie, and I actually like Jerry Jeudy better as a wide receiver, but I think that Justin Jefferson fell just into the perfect spot, and I think he's also a very good wide receiver. So he is currently ranked as the wide receiver 51. He is taking Stephon Diggs' place in the offense. You do have Delvin Cook. You do run the ball a lot. And you do have Adam Thielen still, who was injured a lot of last year. But I think there is plenty of work for Justin Jefferson to step up and be in that role. And Kirk Cousins, he gets a lot of harassment, but he's a fine NFL quarterback. And everyone that has played with him, Thielen and Stephon Diggs especially, have benefited from being with him. They've been good wide receivers, even in fantasy. And Justin Jefferson has a lot of really good, a lot of good things going for him. I mean, first of all, he was having an NFL caliber quarterback throwing to him all last year. And he was getting, some of those were NFL throws, like in tight windows up top where he has to go out and get them. And he was doing that. He was able to catch it in every sort of possibility. He had a ton of touchdowns. So he can really play the game the way it needs to be played at the NFL level. He has the size. I think he has enough skill. So he's not like a DK Metcalf, which I think he's a physical freak, but you had to kind of work on route running and all that. Justin Jefferson will improve in every facet of the game as it goes on, but right now he can step in and play the NFL game. That's just how I see it. And on top of that, the one stat that does stand out, if you can throw any out there from college, because it becomes hard right here, but they do have a contested catch rate in college, and Justin Jefferson had a 92.3% contested catch rate. He was catching balls all over the place over DBs. I know DBs will be bigger and physical, but that is a great one. It was first among 98 draft-eligible pass catchers who saw at least 10. So that is a big deal because you're talking about, 5-6 other guys that we're talking about. He beat them all in this one. So if you want a guy to be able to run a route and go up and get the ball, and especially in the red zone, this is the guy you want. And I think that he can really add something to Minnesota, especially after losing a quality wide receiver like Diggs.
Yep. That team is going to be interesting. If you look at 2019, the targets weren't all there. Like you're saying, we're not replacing as many targets as the year before, but they don't have the same offensive coordinator. It's Gary Kubiak now. It's not Stefanski. He's over in Cleveland. The year before, the targets were 150 each for Thielen and Diggs. So if he gets those kind of targets. I mean, it's not going to be that, but it's not going to be last year either, right?
Right.
It's going to be somewhere in team, but there's some targets there. I mean, who are they all going? They're not. I mean, they're going to Jefferson, right? Like, or they're not all going to Irv Smith. I mean, that's the only other person I can see getting extra targets.
No, it really does. And what if Dalvin Cook does get injured or banged up?
If he does, then it goes. Madison, I think, can step in, but I don't feel like it's the same offense. I think you got to rely on Cousins.
Exactly.
And Cousins only threw 444 passes last year. That's a really low number, and I don't think that's going to happen again.
I don't either.
I just don't see that happening.
And for all that, I even feel like, and because of all this, I think that Adam Thielen is being undervalued a bit as well.
I think he is too. I think he's really safe here.
Right. So I think that you just add all that up, and I really like Justin Jefferson. He ended up in a wonderful spot, and he is a very good young wide receiver.
Yep. So I got a cat joining me here, Jeff. What's going on?
He's a mascot.
Yeah.
What's up, Carl?
There we go. All right. We're number 2, right?
Number 2.
All right. So this is where I get to the no surprise of my list. And the player we've talked about a lot, and he's being severely this is like underrated too. It's Devin Singletary. And this is what's happened with him is they drafted Zach Moss. I don't even care. I really don't.
I don't even need to know his name.
Like, I know it's going to be Zach Moss, but so I think people think, oh, they drafted Zach Moss, right? That must mean they don't really trust the role given to Devin Singletary, right? But I don't think it's that. I think in the NFL today, you need 2 running backs. You just do. Like, the days of the just one workhorse are kind of gone. Not completely, but yes, there's a few teams out there that are going to have just the one true workhorse, but it's just not like it used to be. Zach Moss, they needed to get Zach Moss. Frank Gore's no longer there, and even if he was, he's 52 years old. So you get Zach Moss, he's the backup. You know what? He might get some goal line work. He's a big running back. He might get some goal line work, but that's no matter where you are in the NFL right now. Somebody else is going to play some. It's not going to be just that guy all the time. It's just not happening anymore. And I think that worry has just been so overblown where Devin Singletary has become running back 28 in ADP. 28. This guy showed a lot of promise last year. And for him to be 28 to me is just, that's way too far down there. And it's just because of Zach Moss? Really? I don't buy it. He had 775 yards, 5.1 yards a carry. Looked really good when given the opportunity. Yeah, maybe he won't be a true workhorse. I don't think those exist, but I guess Derrick Henry's there. You could say that. And there's a couple of them but Zach Moss doesn't scare me off. Zach Moss is going to play, sure, but Devin Singletary is much better than this 28th running back, and he's going to have a very good season. He'll be over 1,000 yards. He'll have more touchdowns. Yeah, this thing, if you think, is Zach Moss going to take away from Devin Singletary's goal line work and his touchdowns last year, his whole 2 touchdowns? I mean, come on. He's going to increase in that too. Frank Gore was getting those carries last year. Singletary's going to get more of them. Yeah, don't worry if Moss comes in and plays a little bit. Don't freak out. It's going to happen. But Devin Singletary, I think he's going to have a breakout year. I mean, definitely above 28. Come on.
Yeah, he's my number 1. I believe in him wholeheartedly. I thought he was one of the best backs coming out last year. I thought Buffalo, is it the best spot to land? No, but he's going to be the clear-cut number 1. And you look at it, and the way they used him when he finally kind of took the reins at the end of last year was tremendous. You had 151 rushes. Not only that, but they threw to him 41 times. I mean, they're going to use him in every facet of the game, especially with Josh Allen. They're going to be a run and gun team. So you don't know when, but they're going to need him. They're going to need him a lot. And 5.1 yards a carry says a lot, especially about a Buffalo Bills offense that really didn't get going with Gore in the backfield, right? You thought maybe the line was bad, or maybe Devin Singletary is just that good.
Yep. And I mean, either way, it's a very safe pick for you because he's your third running back. He's our third in the fishbowl. Again, another player we got in the fishbowl.
Yeah, that one I absolutely love.
So,
and it's kind of crazy. So you say he's being ranked at 28 right now? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He finished as running back 32 last year, and he played very little. I mean, comparatively to these other guys.
I think he's going to be a good one this year. All right. Number 1, Jeff. I thought we were going to have the same number 1, but we don't. Disappointed in you.
Did I miss someone?
Yes, you did. He's a running back going into his third season.
I purposely did not put him on here. I totally forgot we talked about this already.
All right. It's Derrius Guice. People are going to get sick of this, right?
What if he just blows his knee out the first?
Then I'll blame him.
Never find out.
You can't predict injury, Jeff. Can't predict injury. I guess in this case, people will be like, clear as day, you can predict injury.
Kinda.
Again, I'm not going to go into this big spiel about Guice again because I do it every week.
No, please tell me. One of these days I'll be like,
it was fun this week. There was a bunch of Twitter arguments on Derrius Guice, and people were saying sell Derrius Guice, and then other people are all upset, and then it's just big. There's people on both sides. People, you either, I feel like there's not many in betweens, but I think you're kind of an in between with Guice. But there's not many of you out there. It's either you love him or you think he's the worst and he's going to blow out his knee and you just get rid of him.
I think he's a very good back that is in a jumbled backfield that also has injury
concerns.
No. For one more year, 100%.
Let's this jumbled back. Okay. I hear this argument. I see this argument. Oh, there's so many backs here. Yeah, there's freaking Peyton Barber. Like,
okay, you picked the worst one.
Well,
they did just draft one that you like, by the way.
I know he's a hybrid. He's a player.
Yeah, he's just a hybrid.
I do like Antonio Gibson. Yes,
he does take away carries. Adrian Peterson is going to get a bunch of carries early on. They got to test if Guice can actually hold up.
Maybe,
but anyway. So even if it wasn't,
who else do they have? Do they have like J.D. McKissick now or something? Like, is that the other guy?
They have a couple others.
I mean, let's look at this crowded backfield here, Jeff. Crowded backfield. I hear this all the time.
I'm the only one that likes him, but I still
Peyton Barber, J.D. McKissick, Josh Ferguson, Bryce Love.
I still like Bryce Love. Actually,
Antonio Gibson. He's a good player. He's everywhere. And then Adrian Peterson. He could be done.
I think it could be a 4-back backfield this year.
I brought this up last week. Adrian Peterson was a healthy scratch week 1 last year.
It's very true.
He was.
But that was also before he blew out his knee for like the second time.
He didn't blow out his knee.
All right. He had a
meniscus.
That's very true. He had a major injury.
Like an MCL or something.
Yes, an injury that made him miss multiple games again.
All right. Yes, true. Yeah. He's played like 5 games in his career. I got it. Okay?
Even if
he's never had more than 10 carries in a game in his entire career.
Even if that's so bad. even if it wasn't a crowded backfield, I think the fact that he right now is being looked at as injury prone, which I think is correct. I think that makes it a crowded backfield because they're not going to want to put that kind of wear and tear on a body they don't believe can make it.
They need to have the guy. I get they need players there just in case, but he's going to be fine. He's running back 32 right now, ADP. So
I mean, awesome. I think is he worth the risk?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
But all right, that will do it for today's Breakout Players episode. We'll be back next week with some more. I think we're going to do some players we love next week. So we'll see who's number 1 on my list.
Jesus Christ.
Talk to you guys.
This whole podcast is brought to you by Guice and Company.
Talk to you guys next week.